Wait, what is this shit?
Not safe for f***ing worker placement podcast.
I flipped the board. I despise that game. Oh, shit. That sounds like... Oh, wait. Hello and welcome to the 10th episode of the Not Safe for Worker Placement podcast, a board game podcast brought to you by me, Leeandra.
And me, Ben.
We're married and we're here to talk shit about board games.
Indeed we are, babe. Shit talking we will do, and here we are.
10th episode.
I know, number 10. Whoop, whoop. All right, we need some confetti poppers and all that fine jazz. 10th episode, and we're off and rolling. So, plugs right away. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Stitcher, YouTube now, and iTunes. Most of those under NSFWP Podcast. All links can be found at www.nsfwppodcast.com. The only change to that is that on iTunes, unfortunately, I could not get NSFWP Podcast to work. So you have to search for Not Safe for Worker Placement Podcast. If you do that, it'll pop right up. You can subscribe, rate, and review us, please.
What's Stitcher?
Stitcher is just it's a podcast app that's pretty popular.
Oh.
On for Android phones and stuff.
Okay. All
so
right.
It's like a lot of people that don't use iTunes to get podcasts and don't directly use Stitcher. So I got us on there now, and hopefully that'll cover all the bases. And even on YouTube, there's just you can go to YouTube and search NSFWP Podcast and hit play, and it'll play it on your desktop like that.
I'm so glad I have an awesome techie husband.
I'm just trying to cover all the bases here.
Good job, baby.
We just recently passed 500 listeners.
Yes.
Or 500 downloads.
High five, my
that's
love.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you to everybody who listens that helped us get there. And let's try to double that in the next month or so and get this thing rolling. So, what we do every week is, first off, we talk about what we've been playing lately. And what we've been playing lately, there's quite a list. So, I went to game night last Thursday, as we talked about on our last episode. I go every Thursday to Meta Games in Springfield, Missouri, and it's a great, friendly local game store. They host a board game night every Thursday there, and your sister had
the 9th episode. You invited her on the 9th episode, so she had to listen in order to get an invitation.
She did. She listened right away.
She did. She mentioned that we were sneaky by doing it that way.
Yep. So she came out and. It was nice. She jumped in right with the first game that we played, which was Downforce. Downforce is a reprint of an old 80s game from, I believe it's Restoration Games. They're bringing back all these old games from the 80s. They did Stop Thief, which was an old electronic game from the 80s that had a little squawk box things where you push and try to deduce where a dude's at. And they're the company that's bringing out Fireball Island again.
I remember playing that.
Yeah, our friend Scott has the original version of that.
That was so much fun.
Really cheesy, awesome 80s style game. It's like Mousetrap that actually works as a game. So.
It is like Mousetrap.
And they're bringing it out, a new version that's got more gamerly, mechanisms and stuff going to come in.
Wait, did you just use the word gamerly?
Gamerly.
I like
it. Look it up, baby.
I like it.
So they brought out this game, which is about NASCAR racing or Formula One racing, basically. And it's a card-driven game. I'm not going to get deep into it because we have a long list of games, but we played it. LaToya did not win. Okay, what? I wanted you to know that. I'm going to say that for every game we played because somehow she wins every game we play, and she came out and played 4 games, and she didn't win a single game. So I think they're in trouble next time she shows up.
She was probably a little nervous because it's a new crowd and new place.
She fit in really well. She was having a really good time. And but no, she did not. She wasn't able to win a single game. So she came in second, I think, in Downforce.
It is on. She needs to change that real quick.
But Downforce is pretty good. I won't say that. I was told that it was a camel up killer whenever I sat down to play it. I do not agree with that.
No,
they're two different, and I do believe camel up is a better social game. There's a little bit more to it. Downforce is very simplistic, but it is a good game. It's a good little racing game. And then we played Honshu, which we've talked about several times from Renegade Games. That's a little city building card game with a little bit of card drafting or bidding at the beginning, sort of a trick-taking mechanism. And I think she really liked that. I happened to pull out the win on that one. And there was lots of gold. I had lots of gold factories, and everybody was just giving me all the gold production for some reason. So I won that one. And then we played one that's going to be part of our giveaway this week, Rolling America. Now, I've seen this on the shelves at like Barnes & Noble and stuff before and never really paid much attention to it. I'd heard about the sequel to it, Rolling Japan. These are what are known as roll and write games, where you roll some dice and then you write something on a sheet and you and that's how you build the game. Like we played Through the Ages, the Bronze Age, which I have, where you do that. And St. Malo, I think, which you hated, where you like draw like the walls on the board with the dry erase marker and stuff. And
yeah, I didn't like that one.
You didn't like that one. I like that one. But it's a type of game that's not my favorite. But this is a very cool little game where you roll the dice and everybody has to pick. Like if it's somebody pulls a die out of a bag and they roll it, and there's 2 of them, I think, per player. And each turn you roll 2 dice and you have to fill out those numbers on the color of Map of America. So the Map of America is broken up into states that are all squared off, and then they all have different colored areas. And you have to fill out a number that whatever number's on the die, whatever color that is, has to go in one of those colored areas that match it. So if it's a red 3, you have to write a 3 in one of the red states. And then the rule is they can never touch a number adjacent to it. It only can be the same number or one number higher or lower than it. So it can never be anything other than that. So the whole thing is about placing it down. So it's sort of like Sudoku meets, bad randomness. And you have...
It sounds like that game we played last night.
Which one?
Sagrada.
We're going to talk about that later. Sort of. It's about rolling the dice and then manipulating, them to try to manipulate those placement of what the die rolls are in order to do the best you can, be as efficient as you can. In Sagrada, though, there's always a way to do it. Like there's almost always a way to do it perfectly, and like maybe you don't win, you don't get the most points. In this one, the whole thing is if you can't write the number, you have to put an X down. And I think it's impossible to not get any X's. It might not be impossible, but it's highly unlikely because Catherine, who is a brainiac, she was down to like the last 3 rolls with no X's, and everybody else already had like 3 or 4, She had 0, and she ended up winning with 5. So, it gets to that point where you just can't make it work. And there's some special powers that you can do during the game that you can mitigate those, and try to make it work.
And so that's our giveaway game?
That's one of them.
Okay.
So we're going to do our little trivia giveaway thing and play along game that we're going to do. And I've got a copy of Rolling America and a copy of Broom Service, the card game, which we played Broom Service before,
Service.
and we really like that. That's a Euro game by Alexander Pfister. And it's kind of a Ouroboros situation with that game because that game came from a game called Witch's Brew, which was a card game, and they took that idea, that mechanism of the cowardly witch or the
Did they have like the forest witch and the winter witch?
But you get to choose depending on when you play it on a card. It has a number on it, and you say, I am the what is it, strong witch or cowardly witch, whatever it is. It's let's read the back of the box. You're either brave witch or the cowardly witch. And if you're the brave witch, it's all well and good if you have the highest number. But if you don't, then
that's right. You had to pick which type of witch. So you were already a type of witch, but then you had to pick if you were brave or coward. Yeah,
and if you're a coward, you're always going to get something.
That's
if you're brave, you only get something if no one else says they're brave and has a higher number than you. So, and that game incorporates like area control and pick up and deliver and all kinds of stuff like that on a big board. This new card game version of it takes it back to the original form where it's just a card game and kind of puts it back there. So we're gonna give away.
Can we give it a run through before we give it away?
No, I said we're gonna give away new games. We can buy one. It's not that expensive. I'm not giving away like $100 games yet. Okay. We're not to that level.
All right.
But we'll talk more about that later. And that was the last one I played on game night. Then we went over to Vaughn's a couple days after that, and we played some games. So we played, what's the first thing we played? We played a little Lovecraft Letter, right?
Yes, we played Lovecraft Letter, which we weren't going to talk about because we talk about it every single week.
Yeah, but what do you think about it still after playing it?
I love Lovecraft Letter. I actually, it was Lily's bedtime and I threw the game. Remember?
Oh, yeah, you did.
I totally did.
We've got to go. Here, boop, I lose.
Time to go home.
So yeah, it continues to be pretty good. The best version of Love Letter. Then we played a game that I designed that day because I had the day off.
Lord.
And it's called I Don't Care. I'm going to give this whole game away because it's probably my easiest to produce game. Like if I went to Kickstarter, except for I would like it to have an app component, which makes it a little harder. So if you can go ahead and get a 40-second timer rigged up on your phone, I'm going to explain how this game works. So I'm going to play around with this. This is a freestyle rap.
I'm not doing it again.
You don't have to because I have you on tape from the other night.
Well, that's fine, but I'm not doing it
Mine
again.
didn't survive, but okay, the game is called Spit It or Quit It. And the idea is you've got 40 seconds to do a freestyle rap, but you have a little help because you draw cards from a deck, and some of them rhyme and some of them don't. And they have matching, they have symbols on the back. And if you have matching symbols, then they rhyme. If they don't match, then they don't rhyme. Then also you flip over.
How many cards do you get in your hand?
You get 4 cards. So you can play out 4 cards. So right now I have 4 cards in my hand. 2 of them have stars on the back and 2 of them have hearts on the back. That means the stars rhyme and the hearts rhyme. Now I can, before I look at what's on the other side of those cards, I can put them in order by just looking at the back symbols. But I can't look at the words on them yet. I just know that these words that both have stars rhyme and the words that have, or the cards that have hearts rhyme also. Then you flip over off the deck a topic to rap about. And my topic is taking out the trash. And then this is all the stuff that needs to be on the app. You got a beat and you've got a timer. So my beat, I'm going to turn it on. And as soon as the beat starts, you wait for the actual beat to hit. There's usually an intro on every one. And then you have 40 seconds to do a freestyle rap connecting the dots for these rhyming words. Once the beat kicks in. So I'm going to start it right now. Here we go. Rapping about taking out the trash. Can I get a little more of my headphones? This beat sucks, so I'm going to do a different beat.
That's a horrible beat.
All right, I'm going to do a different beat.
Like a Halloween beat.
Yeah, this beat has no beat.
There we go.
Here we go.
Nod your head when it starts because I'm going to miss it.
Okay. So here we go.
Yo, Ben in the house.
Taking out the trash rap.
Holla, holla.
They call me Liam Neeson. I'm the treating type to taking out the trash when I go to the street and animation station. I play station. In my heart, I'm rapping all about remarks and timing. I'm on the rhyming tip. Hope the 40 seconds is over really quick.
Nope.
And how much longer can it possibly be? I'm rapping with no beat and it's finally here. But it's not clear when it will ever end. 40 seconds is too long. From the time I begin, I'm still rapping. There's really no beat to be spoken of. It's skipping to the beat. But it's really, oh my God.
You did really, you got your words out super fast.
So how that actually works when you're playing the game is, so I flipped over the thing that said taking out the trash, right? All right. And then I just happened to get the 2 rhyming words that I had were taken and animation. So taken is pretty good when you're taking out the trash. Okay. And then the other 2 I had were heart and remark. And then those have points at the bottom. And if you get them all out without breaking the rules, and the basic rule is you have to connect the dots. It's not a game about winning or losing. It's a game about trying to make a decent little freestyle rap, right? So I scored apparently 10, 12, 14 points in that one because I got all my words out and those are the thing. And then there'd be a little track that you would move your thing up to tell you how far you're going, how many, when you get to like level 5 rapping skills, then you win the game or whatever.
I am so ridiculously horrible at this game.
You want to do a round?
No, I do not.
But sure?
I think that it would be such a fun party game. Such a fun party game.
It was pretty funny because you guys did not want to do it really. But once I got going, you were like, oh, okay, we'll do it. And even if your rap is no good, it's fun.
It's so ridiculous.
It's not for the faint of heart or the timid of character, I don't think. Like if you're too shy, I don't know if you'd be able to get anybody to do it. But You get
Party games after a couple beers and a
get
couple
everybody
glasses of
loose.
wine. It's perfect.
Get everybody loosened up. I think it's a fun little thing. So that's Spit It or Quit It. Hopefully I'm going to kickstart that someday if I can figure out somebody to make the app that does everything I want. Vaughn says he can do it. We'll
Come
put him
on,
to the
Vaughn.
test. So after that, we went home because it was, we actually played Lovecraft Letter after that. So then we had another little game day with ourselves last night. And we played a game that I've been waiting for to receive in the mail for a while now, ever since I heard about it. And I was all keyed up to play it. What game was that, babe?
Bob Ross, The Art of Chill.
Hells yeah.
To the point, people, where he was wearing a Bob Ross t-shirt. He had a Bob Ross Pops, what's those things called?
Pop vinyl.
Pop vinyl.
I bought that
guy.
with the game, actually.
He
So.
had the cover of the box all propped up, so Bob and his big afro were just sitting there smiling at us while we were playing.
Yeah, he was this happy,
You were
little painter over
You
there.
were a happy little Ben.
I was a happy little nerd up there.
You were.
So you can see those pictures on our Facebook page if you go check it out. I was super psyched about this because I was super psyched when I saw the cover of it and the idea of the game, and then I looked at some reviews and they said, "Hey, it's actually a decent game." That this is built around.
we heard about this at the Pieces.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, at the Pieces
when we did
cafe and bar in St. Louis.
Yeah, whenever we interviewed Laura, Mary was the server who also teaches games there. She was going over the rules. That's the first I'd seen of it. So tell us a little bit about Bob Ross, the game.
It's fun. It's fun. So your game piece in front of you is the shape of a paint palette. And so there's a little...
well, that's the coolest thing, right? The components in this
game, right?
The
components are so much fun.
The easel.
There's
an easel to put
and then
the
the
paint
easel holds the different paintings that you're supposed to replicate the colors of paint to make the painting. That's the whole idea. So
they're all Bob Ross originals.
Yes. So each painting has three different what would be called? Three different features. Thank you. So they had happy trees and wondrous water and
magical mountains.
And
happy little tree. Oh yeah, and then some kind of cabin. I don't know what it's called.
What was that? Anyway, and so you have to finish these three sections of each painting before Bob does. That's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
And so the scoreboard is like a color graph. And so you start at the reds and you end the game when you get your pieces to the blue,
which is chill.
You're
fully chill.
Yeah. So
So it's a card game. It's about hand management, right?
And you get your paint colors. You roll this dice and it's got different sides. Each thing does its own thing. Either you can lay a piece of paint down, or you can switch over a Bob card, which will make Bob move up faster, which will make him paint faster, or you can draw a new card, which will get you new paint, or there's different options that you can do. But the whole idea is you want to get the same paints on your palette to be able to paint the different features on each painting. That's the whole idea. So it was a lot of fun. Like,
and there's
I
lots of ways to get extra points as you go. I think that's the key. Like, because pretty much everybody's going to end up painting the features.
Yeah, if you beat him first before the happy trees, you get +2. But as soon as he passes the happy tree point on the little sticker, then you don't get those +2s anymore.
There's a little Bob meeple that moves along the bottom of the painting, and there's different spots on there that show the different features, and if you beat him to doing that, you get +2 or +1.
And you have to have the right paintbrush in your hand in order to paint.
So you basically need the combination of paints on your palette, and there's a cool little mechanism about mixing paint where you can only use paints that are on the same. There's two different sides of it, and each side can hold 3 cards. And if you put cards in the same little section, then they're considered mixed, so they can't be used separately. So that you have to use that on the same feature. It's not what I would call complex, but it's more thinky than I thought it was going to be. You know what I mean? It's more of a real game than what you usually would get with this kind of thing, because it's not like you can just go willy-nilly. You have to consider, if I'm going to do that first, then I don't want to put this paint with this paint, because then I'll have to wipe it away.
And
it's very laid back.
It's very laid back.
But there is
not
some
like
pre-planned.
a scratch your brain kind of game. But
there's decisions. There's decisions to be made on your turn. Now,
it's the idea. It's the idea that we're painting a Bob Ross, and it's such an awesome concept for a game, especially kids from the 80s. We grew up. Even I'm not a painter, but you always flipped a channel and Bob Ross was just on the TV,
He was on PB. He was a PBS staple. He was he's probably one of the Mount Rushmore of my childhood. I would have to put up there probably like Muppet Babies Animal is up there for sure, and
Bob Ross.
Darth Vader and Bob Ross. And how many people are on the Mount Rushmore? 4 or 5. Anyway,
Jackson.
We'll just throw Michael Jackson and I don't know, Michael Jordan up there.
Yep.
There's my youth, pretty much. Or no, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Let's say he's got to make it.
I think he would trump Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he probably trumped Jordan. So Bob Ross was big to me, and just because his whole laid back demeanor, what I would do is, I was an artist. I've always been an artist, but I never was a painter back then. So I never painted it along with him. I know some people now who are going gaga over the posts I put about this game because they've went to paint nights and stuff. And then he's gotten on Netflix now. Since he died, his estate has put all of his episodes on Netflix. So there's lots of people who do these kind of paint night ideas and then think, hey, I can paint. And then they get to watching Bob Ross and they're painting at home. So he's like had a complete renaissance, resurgence. I never did that. What I did usually was lay down on the floor of my grandma's house in the summertime with a big pillow off the couch and watch Bob Ross and fall asleep to his soothing, chill-ass voice. Like, that's what I remember doing. It was so relaxing. And so I owe him a lot of sleepy time.
A lot of nap time.
Yeah. So I was excited for this game. You beat me. You were
I
behind
did.
the whole time. And like you usually do, I'm not doing any good at this game.
I'm pretty sure that's not how I sound.
And then all of a sudden, pew, 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 you jumped up and beat me.
I know. I kind of feel bad. I should have lost it on purpose just to give you a win for your,
That's okay.
your dude.
We'll play that one again for sure. We're probably going to play that one tomorrow night. I would
Probably.
imagine.
Yes,
So,
I think Toya would like that game too.
so that was Bob Ross, The Art of Chill. That's by Big G Creative. They don't really give a straight up designer. That's just a company that puts it out. And then we played Sagrada.
I like that game.
By Floodgate Games. And it was a recent Kickstarter, probably about a year ago. And I remember looking at it on Kickstarter and thinking, fun, that can't be good. It was just dice, and the whole theme is that you're making stained glass windows out of dice. And I thought, that doesn't look like my cup of tea. And then I played it at Geekway this year in St. Louis, and I was like, wow, this game is genius. And it wasn't out yet. It was only Kickstarter people had it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how it's played, babe?
Well, first of all, I love the shape of our board.
Mm-hmm.
So, your individual boards, it's the shape of like a cathedral window that's stained glass. And so each board has its own color theme. Like I had the one that was purple and teal, and then there's a green and yellow. And so I loved the look of the game. I loved it.
The look is really good.
It really is. And so you have options of difficulty of the kind of cards that you want. So you have a little platform, and it has you're supposed to just roll the dice, the color dice, and you have to fill this little platform up. It's pretty much what it is.
Yeah,
but you can't have the same color touching. You can't have the same number touching. And they kind of, depending on how difficult your little card is, that will determine of how many of the pre-numbered dice you have to put down, or if you could just put whatever number in this specific color. And so, we picked there's a 3, 4, and 5, and 6, right?
Yeah, let's explain that. Well, it's a 3, 4, and 5, I think, but there's little cards that so your player boards are blank on the they've got a what is it? Is it a 6x6 grid, I think, of holes that are cut in them, and then that are inset, and then you get cards, and that's what she's talking about, the difficulty level.
It's rectangle, so it can't be 6x6.
6x5, something like that. And you slide cards into there, and that's where Lee's talking about the different difficulty levels, and those cards have patterns that fit underneath those things and tell you either you have to put this number of die there that can be any color, or this color die that can be any number.
Or there's white spaces that you could put any color or any number.
While obeying those main rules that you talked about.
You can't have the colors matched, you can't have colors bumping up against each other, or numbers bumping against each other.
Orthogonally. So you can put the same number or color diagonally next to each other, but not orthogonally. And that makes you really plan out where you start putting your dice, because you've got these ones that have to have certain numbers on them, or they have to have certain colors. So even those blank ones that you've got to play with, you have to think about, how am I going to do this to make it work? What did you think about it as far as?
I loved it. I don't think I won.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't win.
But you were close. We were within 3 points, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty darn close. I thought it was so much fun.
I did too. And so there's tool cards that you can use. So that's kind of where that difficulty thing comes in. If you pick a easier difficulty, then you get less of these little glass beads, and these glass beads are used to put on tool cards to use them. And the tool cards let you swap dice around or change. Some of them let you re-roll dice in your hand. Some of them let you exchange dice from that have already been rolled before. You
pick out the colored dice out of this bag and then you roll them. And there's always one dice left, and that one dice goes on a tracker, and then once there's 10 dice up there, it goes on the 10 tracker, and so that's when the game timer. That's the timer for the game.
And there's also we didn't really talk about how you get the dice. You roll, whoever's turn it is pulls the number out depending on the players. With 2 players, it's 5 dice, and you roll them, and then it goes in a snake draft where the person who rolled it gets the first pick, and then the next person gets the second and third pick in a 2-player game. And then the other person gets the 4th pick, and then the last extra die goes on the round track. If you have more players, plays up to 4, then the last person who picks, you roll, I think, what would it be, 9 dice then with 4 players, and then that last person gets to pick twice, and then it goes back around again. So you're always usually left with 1 die.
It's super fun.
It's just a really, really clever design.
It is.
It's a completely abstract game. Like, the theme doesn't do anything except for make the cool boards that they made out of it. So
the theme just looks pretty.
The theme is pretty much is what it is. Yeah. And the box art, everything about it is a really great package. All the components are awesome. So Sagrada,
it's kind of like Sudoku.
Well, sort of, and that's kind of what I said about Rolling America.
Yeah, you're right.
It's that kind of idea anyway about you've got a certain placement that you have to do, and you have to deal with what you get. So I really like it. I think it's a really good game. We recommend it for sure. So that's Sagrada by Floodgate Games. All right, babe. That's pretty much it for what we've been playing. I mean, that's quite a little bit.
I think it might be time to hear from Moon City.
I think it's time for Moon City Con ad? All right. We'll be right back after that. Hello, all you geeky gals and guys. Have you ever wanted to go to a board game convention in Southwest Missouri? Well, guess what? Come April 14th and 15th, you're in luck. The Moon City Con is coming to Springfield, Missouri, brought to you by the 417 Gamers. And right now, you can get your special Founders Bundle that comes with 2-day passes and 1 Founders Exclusive Run t-shirt right now at www.mooncitycon.com. Don't miss out. These tickets are going fast and the discounted rates will not last. We'll see you in Springfield for the Moon City Con.
So, as mentioned last week, we are doing card games this week as our feature segment.
Yeah. You're always requesting to play a card game.
I love card games. I really do. I work 9 hours a day at a computer, staring at everything all day. So it's nice sometimes to just relax and not have to pull out a big thinking game, Mm-hmm. So I enjoy the less stress of a card game.
Yeah, it seems they're deceptive in the way that they seem like they're going to be easy, even though sometimes they do make you think a little.
They do, but they're not like viticulture, or you know what I mean?
And they just take less time to set up. So sometimes it's like, well, it's got to be easier because
they're easier to learn, where sometimes you're long-winded and it takes 30 minutes just to explain a game.
Huh? What are we talking about?
What? So,
it's been almost a week since you mentioned that.
Oh, of course. So we played some games last night, and he told me the name of this game, and
well, hold on, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Wait, why?
Because we're going to do something first.
Oh.
So we wanted to talk about card games, right? And then I thought, well, are we going to keep it to like games that are just a deck of cards, or bless you, Maggie?
Bless you, Maggie.
Maggie just sneezed. Poor little poodle.
She's our poodle.
So
she's 11.
She's running around crazy and down here.
She's old, and she's the love of our life.
If you hear a little pitter-patter feet and sneezing, that's just Maggie. So I thought, what constitutes card games? Because, half of these games we have are card-driven games, but then they have boards or they have pieces other than cards, So let's go ahead and give a quick shout-out to, like, card games that you play with a deck of 52 cards. What's your favorite? I know that you love probably Scum, right?
I love Scum.
Okay.
I love Scum.
So what's Scum?
Scum is we have to have at least 6 people, so it's a larger card game, and you have to have 2 decks actually. Mm-hmm. And the whole idea is you have in rank of the first order of cards that you draw is how you sit. So you have a king and a queen and a prince and a princess, and we call them wenches, and all sorts of fun games down to high scum and low scum. And so the king starts off the hand. So the king will try to get rid of the lowest cards first because you want to be the first person to get rid of your hand. That's the whole thing. And so if you throw down 2 3s, the next person can throw down 2 4s or 2 5s. It has to be the same amount of cards, but in a higher sequence. You can be a real asshole. And after the king rolls down, 2 3s, you can roll out 2 aces and just screw everybody in between. You usually get yelled at. So that's pretty much scum. Yep. And then, the last person out has to be the scum, position. And that person's in charge of getting all the cards, raking them in and shuffling and dealing. And it's really hard to get out of the scum position. So I usually cheat and help the scum guy out. Or if it's me, I ask someone else to cheat for me.
I like scum. It's fun. I think it's called, that mechanism is called a ladder climbing trick-taking game is pretty much, I think, what it is. Goes off of all the classic trick-taking ideas, and it just makes it a fun little, you can play it with how many people?
You can play as many as you want, but you have to have at least 6.
Yeah. Okay. So we play that with a lot of big groups, and that's a fun one.
Because you just have different names. You know what I mean? Like, now I'm in the gesture.
You just keep making up names until you get down to the last 2, which are the high scum, low scum. Yeah. So I guess my favorite out of a regular deck of cards would probably be Texas Hold'em. I played that for years, and was never great at it, but I always had a fun time doing it. I just played it for fun, just change and whatnot. Never any high stakes stuff or anything like that. But I really like it, and until I got into these hobby games, it was fun to have a game night where you sit around and play, poker. And you just knock your head against the microphone.
Sorry.
You can also do that. That's also
I hit my head against the microphone.
As an alternative to playing poker, we could just bang our heads into the microphone for fun. So we get that part out of the way. So we're not going to be talking about any of those kind of games really the rest of this time. And I wondered,
Wait a minute. I love me some Uno.
Oh, Mike, no, we're definitely not talking about that.
I hate Phase 10. I love Skippo.
Ugh. Those are all 3.
Old Maid, Goldfish. Come on.
No. I'm editing all this out. You cannot.
You're not editing this out.
I'm trying to save you.
No.
This is your terrible games.
No.
Uno is maybe the worst game of... Phase 10.
Phase 10
Uno is bad. Uno's terrible.
Wretched.
But Phase 10 is probably the worst game ever made.
Phase 10. I remember playing it as a kid all the time with me and Toya. Ugh. We constantly played it. And then it's like we played it a few months back at Toya's house, and I effing hated it.
It takes forever. It's so stupid.
I will never play that game again.
There's no strategy in it.
But Skippo is fun. I enjoy Skippo. Me and Toya play Skippo. Sure. Well, shut up. Me and Toya like to play Skippo. We even, added extra components to it, and we would have, one deck going up and the next deck going down, to try to make it a little harder. Yeah. I don't know. We liked it.
I tend to think that those kind of games, while they're good for what they do, which is giving you something to do with the family and all that, I think the games that we're going to talk about pretty much surpass those games because a lot of these games are not that hard to learn. They're quick to get out, and they keep you from having to play Phase 10 for 2 hours.
The people who play Phase 10 and Skippo, if they would not be so intimidated by games, not necessarily at Walmart, they would like these games as well.
Yeah, well, Walmart and Target and all those places are starting to carry these kind of games.
I like that Barnes and Noble carries
Barnes and Noble has a really good selection.
It is.
So we'll move on to what I looked on BGG because I was wondering, okay, what are we going to constitute a card game? So let's give BGG's top 5, and we'll see if we've played any of them. BGG's top 5 listed card games are number 1, Lost Cities, which we've never played. I looked at it. It looks dry to me. Apparently, it's the best card game ever made. It's just about... I really don't know exactly what it is. I know what the board looks like and everything. It's about playing to dominate your side of the board, and I think it's kind of mathy. So it's a 2-player game only. And then number 2 is on your list to talk about. That's San Juan.
Yes.
And that's a classic, and it's a very, very good game. Number 3 is one I have, but we've never played because I played it before, and I acquired it in a trade with some other games. But I played it before, and I didn't care for it. And that's Bonanza by Uwe Rosenberg, who designed Caverna and all these other games we've been playing, and Patchwork and all those. It's one of his earlier games. I didn't care for this game, honestly. Maybe sometime it is kind of a little party-ish game, like more of a family-style game. It had weird mechanisms where you can't change the order of the cards in your hand, which I had a problem with. I kept trying to shuffle my deck up, and you can't move that. You can't do that. You have to play them in the order that you get them and stuff. and it's about trading and negotiation and stuff. Didn't care for it, but it's a number 3 game. Number 4 is Citadels. I don't think you've ever played this. I've played it. It's a really good game. It has a lot in common with San Juan, where San Juan you're taking rolls, and Citadels you're given rolls, and it's kind of a hidden thing. Your rolls, you don't want anybody to know what you are. So, and then you play trying to do, build up the most points that way. Citadels is pretty good. Number 5 is one we have both played, Magic the Gathering.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to me, this probably should be the number 1 card game of all time. Like, it's the biggest selling game in probably the history of it. Probably outsells Monopoly at this point. Never played it competitively or seriously, but I have a shit ton of Magic cards. So what do you think about Magic, babe?
It was all right. I liked it.
Not your favorite?
It was my
You're pretty
favorite.
good at it.
I mean, I liked it. I like the competitive, bump up your deck kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's
and we
what I
basically
like to
always
do.
played with pre-built decks. Like I'll buy
Yeah.
those dual decks that are like built for you because I ain't got time to be putting those things
I
together.
liked it, but it wasn't one that like I just felt like I really wanted to play again.
Yeah. I like
Like
the game.
Gwent that we still haven't played
Yeah.
again.
Well, and it's very similar to Gwent, but
Ooh, that's only 2-player, huh?
what?
Gwent.
Yeah. it's only
Shoot, I was
2
gonna say we should play tomorrow.
But so honorable mention already goes out to Gwent. So those are the top 5. Magic we really like. Obviously, San Juan we really like. Bonanza not so much. Citadels yes. Number 1 Lost Cities we haven't played yet. Maybe that's one we should
And
give
whose
it a
list
shot.
is this?
This is BGG's top 5 correlated card games.
All right.
So now we're going to move on to our top card
3.
games. Not even top. I just decided to
It's not
let's
top.
pull out some games that we haven't talked about much yet on the podcast and that are card games we like to play.
Let's be honest. It ended up being Leeandra. Which ones do you remember how to play and can explain? Because
Yeah.
that's how I roll.
That is how you roll. So my number 1 is a new game that we just played the other night.
How to make koji.
Hanamikoji. And how did you remember that?
How to make koji. So I have a sales rep in China, and he's in China, but he's from Japan, and his name is Koji. And so when Ben said that,
Hanamikoji.
Hanamikoji, I was like, how to make koji. So I can't wait to see him next month when I'm in Hong Kong and tell him about this game.
I have no idea what Hanamikoji
That I
means, so
have
you might
nicknamed.
insult him badly when you say that because it is a game about geishas, so there's no telling what you'll.
But he's from Japan,
tell
so that
him.
makes
Yeah.
sense that it's koji and koji.
So this is but koji probably means something that we don't either one know.
I'm
My
gonna
friend
ask
AJ, if he listens, he'll tell you he lived in Japan for a while. So the back of the box says, you are the owner of a traditional restaurant. Do your best to attract the 7 best geishas to you by collecting their favorite items. And it is a Japanese design by Nakota Nakayama, and the artist is Meishirley Chan, and the art is one of the coolest things about this
Wait
game.
a minute. Hold up. I didn't know that the game was based on trying to attract
Yeah.
people with sexy little Asian girls.
Well, that's not it. You're
That
just
is it. That's what you just read.
Well, you're trying to get geishas to your place. See, geishas in the Japanese culture, before you just insult everybody here, the idea of geishas were not like prostitutes. They were some of the most learned people in the culture. Their whole thing was about studying a certain skill and being the best that you could possibly be.
Yeah, but they're
at
also
that.
beautiful.
Yeah, but that's beside the point. So I think you had a preconception that they were
I
something
do
other than what they are.
because I go to Hong Kong, I go to China every year, and when I go to my light shows, that is the biggest thing that is used is they will find the cutest girl to put in the most low cut
Well, that has nothing to do
mini
with geishas,
skirt
babe.
to be in the front
That
line
has nothing to do
to
with geishas.
suck in every single male that walks by them.
That's totally different. That's called a booth babe. That happens at every single convention.
So it has
ever
anything to do
been
with those
done.
beautiful, gorgeous women on those cards.
No, they're about their skill. They're about what they.
Oh, they have skill, all right.
What? Oh my god, you're insulting every Japanese person.
All right,
now.
erase this part.
But I'm not erasing it. So that's not what geishas are about. Okay, they are about being the top of some skill. So that's what all these are about. Like one of them is a musician, and one of them is
They were, all musicians. There was a guitar player, a flute player.
There's a flute player, guitar
player. The lady
player.
with the fan who did all of her
There's the
special
fan
tricks.
dancing. There's the umbrella dance thing, and there is one that is
The
like
artwork
a
is gorgeous.
librarian. Yeah, or not librarian. I guess she'd probably
She was a librarian.
What do you call
Her special skill was reading.
Yeah. Anyway, so she had the scrolls and whatnot. So the idea is to give them the items that they need, and it's basically a area control game that you play with cards. You play down, different value cards to the different geishas, and you try to win their favor. There's a little token that goes on each one of them, and you move it to your side, and you win if you get either 11 points worth of geishas or more under your control, or 4 geishas under your control. And you beat me on that one. I think
did.
2 games in a row.
I didn't realize it was because the restaurant owner was trying to collect business.
Yeah, no, that's the idea.
You didn't tell me that part.
I didn't tell you the theme. The theme is, it's.
I thought the theme was these are beautiful women that do awesome things.
That is the theme.
But I didn't realize it was because the restaurant owner was trying to get them to win them so that they'd get more business.
How does that change it for you?
It does, because it really does.
But that's that's history. It's a historic thing. It's not a present day
and
game.
I understand that, but it also goes with my personal experience of seeing these Asian women in
yeah, but
the
that's
light
not
shows.
just Asian women, baby. That's every single
Okay, so
convention.
I've only ever been to Asian light shows.
Yeah, if you go to Comic-Con or a monster truck rally or a gun show, they're going to have like booth babes. They're going to have chicks in bikinis or low-cut tops, and they're going to be standing at their booth to attract guys. Yeah,
and
that happens
you know
everywhere.
that if there is a male with me, they won't even speak to me.
Really?
They won't. They'll completely bypass me. 100%.
That's a different culture. And by the way, that's Chinese and this is Japanese. So it's a whole different ball of wax.
I think there it's everybody. Like they all, like that's a big show. Like it's not just China that has the show. It's,
yeah, I know.
There's German people, and I mean, it's just a complete mix of.
So German people won't talk to you if you're with a man?
I don't know. I never go to the German booths.
Anyway. Okay, so that's Hanamikoji.
How to make koji.
All right. What's on your list, babe?
Let's see here. Let's start off with Rocka Rails by
Rails. That's another Japanese design game designed by Truly Okamake, M. Kakinokahara, and Moko Ueda.
Good job, baby. This is such a fun little game packed in a 3x3 box.
Yeah, it's a tiny little box.
It is so fun, and it's.
The cards are, what shape would you call this? It is a 1, 2,
They're
3, 4,
diamonds.
5, 6-sided. So
they
it is a. I don't know geometry well enough to know what a 6-sided thing is. It's not an octagon.
Where's Lily?
8 is an octagon. 6-sided is a something.
Where's Lily? She
Who knows?
just learned all this.
But the whole point of that is that they're cubes. Basically, they're drawn to look like cubes. So they have this really cool colored pencil artwork on them, and they're about laying tracks, right?
Yes.
The game is about
colored tracks.
laying different colored tracks and getting these little trains around this landscape that you're building. And when it goes down the table, there are these cube-looking, these 6-sided geometric shaped cards that I wish I knew the name of that, and they look 3-dimensional. Once you lay them down, it's this really cool optical illusion that starts happening on the table where it looks like there's cubes stacked up on the table, but it's actually just this 2D
Hexagon.
thing. Hexagon?
I think I said that.
You might have.
I did.
Hexagon?
Hexagon.
Yeah, you're right. I got pentagon would be 5-sided.
No. Oh, well, shit.
No, pentagon would be 5-sided. Yeah, hexagon.
Yeah,
That's
5-sided
right.
shape is called pentagon. A 6-sided shape is called a hexagon.
That's right.
7 is a heptagon.
All right.
While an octagon is 8 sides.
All right.
Thank you, Google.
There you go. So they're hexagons, but they look like cubes. That's the whole point. And so you're going around and you're laying you have to match the color track that was laid before you, right?
Yes, and some of the tracks have multiple colors, so that's when you take the chance to switch the color scheme.
Mm-hmm.
And then you lay them, you have a chance to put like a bridge, and then you can start like stopping lanes and starting new ones.
That's a tunnel, yeah. If you have a tunnel card,
yeah.
you can stop the whatever the last card was, you can go back up the track from that and lay a tunnel down and go a different direction with different colors. Then there's also a storm card that if you pull that, you roll a dice that's in there, or die, and the die, then there's a legend on that card that tells you what to do with whatever you roll, which can make other people draw cards. It can make you play another card. It can make you draw some cards. And getting rid of all your cards is the main idea. So you get 5 cards to start with, and the whole idea is to get rid of all your cards.
And it's crazy because it's 2D and 3D.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the whole thing, is that when you have all the hexagons laid around each other, it makes this big old train rail, and it turns into like a 3D setting. Like,
yeah,
it's pretty
completely
cool.
2D, but it's an optical illusion. It just looks like it's sitting up on the table.
It's a really neat little game.
So if you ever get a chance, look up pictures of Rock-a-Rails. I think there's some more in this line, in this tiny little card game line, and they may even have the same hexagon cards that do this a different type of game out of them. But I picked this one up a long time ago, got it shipped over from Japan, and we have a lot of fun with it when we pull it out. So that's Rock-a-Rails. It's by Sapporo Project. Now, my second one I'm going to talk about is, I've mentioned it on the podcast before, but I don't think we have really gone too in-depth with it, and we're probably not going to here. But it's Bloody Inn, and the Bloody Inn is designed by Nicholas Robert by Pearl Games. So the Bloody Inn is about owning an inn in either the 15th, 16th, 17th, or 1800s. I probably could read the back of the box and find out. The box says, from the back of the box, France. Oh, it is 1800s. Hey, I would have been right.
Hey, good job.
1831, in a remote corner of Ardeke, the little village of Parabel seas, numerous travelers pass through. A family of greedy rural farmers is determined to make its fortune and has devised a diabolical stratagem to achieve this goal. Invest in an inn so they can rob traveling guests, getting rich without arousing the suspicions of the police. Whether or not their plan will work out, one thing is certain: none of their guests will return. Which, that's not really true in the mechanism of the game. But so the idea is, you're running an inn, and you're specifically running a room of an inn, or a couple rooms of an inn, depending on the player count. And you're getting guests in, and it's a card game because it's basically, there's a board that represents the inn, but the whole game is driven by cards, multi-use cards. The cards can either be used to put them in your rooms or someone else's room, to pay for actions, because certain actions, you either want to kill the people in the room to get the gold that they have, or kill the police because they're going to find your dead bodies, or you want to bury the people you've already killed, or you want to build buildings so you can bury the people under them that you've killed. And it's a whole system that works like that. And all the cards, they pay for these actions too. And some cards, if you use certain cards to do certain actions, they're good at them and you get them back. So usually you have to discard everything you use. But if you use the specialists, like if you use a grave digger to dig graves, then you get him back into your hand. So that's just more efficient. So if you can build up a hand of cards that you can do multiple actions with and get them back, then that's less drawing that you're doing and stuff. So, and then it's all about making money. So you want to steal the money from the people, and you want to get money for your people surviving. If your person's still alive at the end of the night that was in your room, then you get money for that.
So you're a grave robbing murderer.
Well, you murder, and then you rob them, and then you got to bury them before the cops find out.
Awesome.
So if there's any police officers left over in the inn at night, then they do a raid, and any bodies that you have, people that you have killed that you haven't buried yet, you then lose those people, so you can't get the money from them because you only get the money when you bury them, and you have to pay a certain amount of money to make the grave digger get rid of the body for you before you go completely.
I have yet to play this game with fully knowing the rules.
Yeah, I've only played it once with the rules right, and I've played it a lot of times.
I love this game. It's so much fun. Even with the rules wrong, it's still a really fun game.
And we played it really wrong for a while, and then we got some of the rules right, and even with playing it really wrong, it was fun. And then we got most of the rest of the rules right. And then the last time I played it, I found one more rule that I hadn't played right with, which, you know, it's a little bit, makes a little bit of difference in the game, but not a lot. So the rule book, I got to say, is not great, but it's pretty good if you can read it over and over and over about 4 times.
Great.
But the game is great. So that's the Bloody Inn. What's another one you got, babe?
I also have Lost Legacy.
Yeah, Lost Legacy.
This was like one of the first card games we got, along with like Love Letter.
Yeah, designed by the same guy, designed by Sergei Kanye.
I remember whenever you first introduced these kind of games to me, this was one of the very first ones you played, and I liked it then, and I liked it last night.
Yeah, we played it last night, and I got to thinking, I was like, and I have like 4 different decks of it, because they come in, it's basically the Love Letter engine of a game,
yep,
but souped up in the way of like, so I said before that Love Letter, or Lovecraft Letter is the best version of Love Letter, but honestly, I think Lost Legacy might be the best version of Love Letter, because it's more complex. There's more going on. There's definitely more thinking that needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And as a 2-player game, I think it's way better than Love Letter. Maybe as a multiplayer game, Love Letter might shine at that. But as a 2-player game, Lost Legacy is very compelling. And whereas Love Letter's not super great at 2 players,
No.
So the way Lost Legacy works, the twist it puts on it is instead of, you draw one, play one, just like in Love Letter, but the whole idea is to get this one card in the deck called the Lost Legacy, sort of like the Princess and the other. But you have one card that's put face down at the beginning of the game called the Runes, and cards can be switched in and out of the runes, or taken from the runes to your hand, or put more cards in the runes, depending on these card effects. And each deck has a completely different set of rules that are on these cards. So the numbers are there like in Love Letter, but you don't have a set of powers like in Love Letter.
I didn't like the tax one.
Yeah, there's one, the White Gold Spire, I think, is the one. I thought was interesting.
I like the one before that a lot better than the tax
The
one.
Vorpal Sword, yeah, that was pretty cool. And the original ones are called the Flying Garden and the Starship, I think, or the original 2. And I think they might have some more decks now, which after playing it through the night, I might be, because they're like $10 a piece.
It's fun.
Be worth it. So it's just a better souped up version of Love Letter, pretty much.
I agree.
So that's
I like
Lost Legacy from Seiji Kanai and AEG Games.
All right. Well, I think I have. Oh, you have one more, don't you?
Yeah, go ahead and do yours.
I have one more. It's San Juan.
San Juan, which we talked about, number 2 all-time card game according to BGG. So now we were looking at this game, and I know Lee really likes this game. Played it a few times.
We talked about it a couple episodes ago.
And we talked about it a few episodes ago. She remembers it a lot better in that episode than she does now. So basically, San Juan, the version we have is by Rio Grande, and it's designed by Andreas Seyfarth.
Is there different versions?
Yeah, there's somebody else has published it, I think, since then. But
okay.
It's the card game version of Puerto Rico, the bigger Euro game version of it, and it's basically the same idea where you're playing out. There are rolls in the middle of the table, and you pick a roll on your turn, and when you're the person who picks it, that determines what actions everybody's going to take that round, and you get a bonus for being the person that picked it, right? And the whole idea is you're just building up an engine with your cards, correct?
Correct. Yes, I do remember that. And you're trying to get silver and tobacco and coffee.
And sugar.
And sugar are the different kinds of
the commodities
that you're trying to produce.
Yep.
And that's
one of the actions that you do is once you get those, then you can only store so many. And then one of the actions is to ship. And so when you ship, then you get rid of those and you get more cards in your hand, and the more cards you have in your hand, the more you're going to be able to play. So it's this push and pull of producing goods, but having a place to put them, having special powers that give you bonuses on top of that, and getting cards in your hand, because the worst thing that can happen is you're stuck with nothing to play out in your hand. So it's one of the original really good engine building card games.
I remember I really liked it.
Yeah. Well,
I remember when I first learned it, I called it San Jose.
That's right. And it's San Juan, which, yeah. They're having a little bit of trouble right now in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Because of the hurricane, so that's not good at all.
No, it's not.
So my last one is Cthulhu Realms. Cthulhu Realms, I'll be super surprised if you remember anything about. It is a deck building game in a super small box. It is built off of the...
Is that the one with the clear cards?
No. That's the one you always talk about. That's Gloom. Cthulhu Realms is built on the Star Realms engine.
I remember those little bubblegum pieces.
Those are brains, baby.
I know, but they look like chewed up pieces of bubblegum.
Yeah, they do. Well, those don't come with the game anyway. I added them.
Oh.
But basically, I like deck builders. We've talked about this before, either in two ways. Either when deck building is used as just a mechanism in a bigger game, or if it's a very compact game, because a lot of things that happens with deck builders is they just keep adding expansions and cards, and there's more and more and more, and they get huge, and you have to have the latest one. I like small contained ones. Cthulhu Realms probably the best one that I've played in a small box. Has some iconography to get over, but once you figure out what the icons mean about, like, there's like, they use in this, and the terminology, they use like abjuring instead of like getting rid of a card out of your deck. It's called abjuring. So you need your thesaurus around your dictionary in order to play this game.
Google.
But, it's got really cool little cartoony Cthulhu artwork that's really good. It's designed by Darwin Castle, and the art is by Rob Lundy. And that one is published by TMG, and they do a lot of small box games that are pretty good. But I think Cthulhu Realms small box deck builder is a really good one.
I remember the box, but I don't remember how to play.
It's been a while. It's probably been over a year since we played that one. But it's one that we need to play some more because I really like it. So that's Cthulhu Realms. So we talked about 6 card games that we not necessarily think are the top card games of all time, but that we pulled off our shelves and we're like, hey, we'd like to actually play that soon. So we'll move on to our trivia challenge. And you guys will get a chance to win a game or two from us.
Wait, do you have like a spontaneous trivia challenge song that you need to go into, baby?
Yeah, let me get my rap beat.
Come on.
And break down a beat here.
Come on.
For some reason my beats are not like there's no bass to them. I don't know what the deal is. Oh, that's because all my bass was turned down on my mixer.
It's all about the bass.
It is, but it wasn't. All right, here we go. So what are we doing?
Trivia.
Trivia.
Open
Trivia rap.
Trivia rap.
Trivia rap. Trivia rap. Trivia.
Game in the house.
Trivia is about asking questions that you don't know. I got all the answers because I got a card that says I float on you, Joe. Hey, Joe, what you doing with that gun? A little bit of Hendrix for you, and now, son, you know. Man, I had a good beat, too.
You're doing good,
Just
baby.
can't flow.
Good job.
People, don't ask me to rhyme. Nobody asked me.
Better to quit it.
That was with no cards. I had no dots to connect. I was like, where's my cards to help me rap?
All right, on to the trivia.
All right, we'll be back.
All right, and we're back after that awesome rap down.
Hell yeah. Rap down?
Is that what they're called? Wrap up?
Oh, this is some white bread rapping going on here. You got a little rap down going on. It's not a hoe down, it's a rap down. I think that's what they call it. It's not freestyling in a cipher. It's
freestyling, yeah.
It's a rap down at the hoe down. Oh my God. All right. So yeah, that's about what it deserved. A rap down.
So the trivia, we're trying to get our awesome, faithful listeners more engaged. And for those of you who are not an awesome, faithful listener yet, please do so. Facebook page, we're going to put this on the Facebook page. So it's a trivia to kind of get our listeners more involved now that we're, getting a little more out there.
And we're going to give away some games.
Yeah.
So if you would like your chance to win, maybe one, but possibly 2 brand new games from us. So how this is going to work is this is going to be a question and answer type trivia game. I'm taking this from the shitty 1993 Parker Brothers game, Crack the Case. And I read a whole bunch of cases in there, and they seem impossible. The idea is that somebody gets the card with a little story, and they have all the answers of what happened in this crime. And with very little information, everyone has to take a timed round up to 30 minutes and ask questions. And then the person, which will be me, that is the moderator, can respond with yes, no, yes and no, irrelevant, I don't know, rephrase your question, or define what you mean. And those are the only answers they can give. So how we're going to do this, I picked out one that I think is doable. So what we're going to do is I'm going to read the story. Leeandra is going to get a chance to ask 5 quick questions. All right, 1 question. Full disclosure here. I had originally said 3 questions, and then we proceeded to do all these things. And
You
then
originally said 5 questions.
Oh yeah, I originally said 5 questions. Sorry, and then we're gonna. Anyway, Leeandra figured it out in about 3 questions. So maybe this is not as hard as I thought. So we're gonna limit her to asking 1 question, and then I will give the answers. The answer to that, yes, no, or whatever pertains to it. And then we'll post that on the page along with this story. And you guys can start trying to figure out this mystery.
Murder mystery is my jam, babe.
Oh, I know. You started guessing it, and I was like, how is she getting it all already? Don't say anything more. So you're going to be able to ask 1 question here in a minute. And then how that's going to work is You guys can continue to ask me questions on the Facebook page, and we'll just keep a thread going on this post. And we'll keep it going until next Tuesday. And then at that point, if someone has gotten it right, so if you get it right and you have it figured out, go ahead and post your answer. You might not be right. There's a few things you're going to have to figure out, at least 3 major points of this mystery that have to be figured out in order to have solved it. If you post your answer and you're correct, then I'm not even going to say you're correct until Tuesday. I'm just going to let it float out there, and other people can continue to ask questions. So then on Tuesday, if someone has gotten it right, I'll announce the right answer, and that person will win both games. They'll win a copy of Rolling America and a copy of Broom Service the Card Game. And if no one has posted the correct answer, then I will take all the people who posted's names and put them into a random number generator and spit somebody out, and we'll give that person the choice of one of those 2 games. So
Sounds
they can
good to
pick
me.
one or the other. Does that work for you?
I think it sounds great.
All right, so let's get to this here mystery. It is called An Evening with Pat and Mike. The case. The cops will never suspect me, Pat thought as he tiptoed towards the living room, carrying a heavy iron skillet. One whack and his murderous plan would surely pan out. Mike, his brother, would be sitting where he sat every night, in his favorite chair, falling asleep in front of the TV. Killing him would be easy and foolproof. A week later, alerted by a concerned neighbor, police broke into the apartment and found the bodies. Both men were in the living room. Mike dead in his chair, his head severely dented. Pat in another chair, just as dead. A piece of paper was on the coffee table. All right, that's all your info. Now the mystery. Why did Pat think he could get away with murder? And what really happened that fateful night? So, there's a few things that go into this. So, Lee, now that you know a lot more than you should know, let's ask a question that's yes, no answer.
Let's see. So, the question I'm going to ask is, the piece of paper, is it a note written by one of the brothers?
Yes.
All right.
So that's your lead piece of evidence, people. Run with it. Do what you will. Post all of your ideas. If you get stumped, or maybe just periodically in the next week, I will drop a couple of more clues on you. So get involved. Get on our Facebook page. As soon as this post, there will be a post up there about this mystery game giveaway. All right. All we've got left today, babe, is IRL. So let's go to the theme. All right. We're back with IRL. What's going on, babe?
Oh, well, we have game night tomorrow.
Yeah. Who's coming to game night?
Toya,
Your sister?
my sister, my brother-in-law.
Who won't probably play any games?
No, he doesn't really play
We'll probably get him to
games.
play something.
Maybe.
We'll
I might be
try
able
to,
to guilt him into playing something.
we'll try to trick him into something. But what do you want to play with Toya?
I really want to introduce her to viticulture. Like, I think that she would love that, and she doesn't get to play. I mean, well, other than Thursday now. Normally, when we're at her house, there's kids and distractions. So I think having a nice, deep thinking game, I think she would really enjoy that.
I think she'll like viticulture. I'll try not to beat you guys too bad.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Ooh, and Sunday we're having a stay-at-home day, and we're going to play Mice and Mystics.
Oh, and that brings me to a little next thing. This is going to be a short IRL because we've had a long episode this week. But speaking of Mice and Mystics, I today reached out to Jerry Hawthorne, the creator and designer of Mice and Mystics, about doing an interview with us to talk about our love of Mice and Mystics.
Yes.
And his new game that's coming out from Plaid Hat Games called Stuffed Fables. And lo and behold, he responded, and he is all gung-ho to do the interview.
Exciting.
He had to check with his upper management to make sure it was okay for him to come on a Not Safe for Worker Placement podcast, because he's now a full-time employee of Plaid Hat Games. He used to just freelance for them, so now he's in the whole...
Good for him.
He's a working cog in the whole Asmodee system, so he had to check, and they said it was totally cool, and He's going to be on with us hopefully next episode, and we're going to talk family games, and we're going to have a nice interview with Jerry about all things Mice and Mystics.
I can't wait.
And his new game, Stuffed Fables, which looks awesome. I mean, it even has Lily excited. Like, she saw the miniatures and stuff for that one, and she was like,
it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, you play like living stuffed animals.
Yeah, it looked really neat.
It looks really cool. So that's pretty much what you can expect next week. And you got anything else going, babe?
I leave for Hong Kong in 23 days.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You got big plans while you're there this time?
Yeah, got big trails and we're doing
what
big
kind of trails?
tours. And
what kind of trails you doing?
going up 3 mountains, and it's a 3.5 hour trail up 3 mountains to go to the Buddha statue.
Where's that at?
It's in Hong Kong, but I don't remember the name, like the little town it's in.
Yeah.
They'll have like weird names.
Chinese almost.
Yeah, Chinese almost. Yeah. And then we've booked a 7.5 hour tour. It's kayaking the ocean.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And then we turn around and we hike through this little old fisherman town, and they're supposed to take us to go see some sea turtles. And
cool.
Yeah, that's going to be super, super fun. So I'm really excited about that.
It's going to be a fun trip this time.
I'm a little nervous to go kayaking. I've never been on a kayak.
If they're, depending on the type of kayak, like the sit-in side ones, oh my God, I suck at those. I can't stay upright. I flip over.
And I'll be in the ocean.
Yeah, that could be rough. Hopefully they'll give you a little time to acclimate to them. If they're the sit-on-top kayaks, they're really easy. We've been in those before, but I've tried the ones where you have to like put the rubber seal on yourself and go and like put your whole body down in them. Those are tough.
It did say, previous kayaking experience preferred. Check.
Oh, you could be in some trouble now. Oh, babe, don't die in China, please.
All right.
I don't even know if they'll transfer the life insurance from there.
Surely they will. It's paid.
They'll never find your body in the Chinese Ocean. The government will just pretend it never happened.
My insurance is paid. All right.
All right. So that's it for episode 10 of the Not Safe for Worker Placement podcast. Come back next week where we'll talk about some such other things. Whoa, what was that?
That was too fast.
What happened?
He snuck right up on us.
Was that you?
Well, fuck no, it wasn't me.
It wasn't you. Who was it? It's far away. Oh no. Is that who I think it is? Where's he at? He's right behind. What are you doing? Maurice, get out of there. Why are you hiding? Come on out in plain sight and say hi to the people. Maurice! All right, bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
You thought it was over, but now it's time for another bonus rap down. This was Lee's first time trying Spit It or Quit It. She didn't want to do it live on the podcast, but I'm going to play this for you. Sit back and enjoy, and we'll see you next week. All right, Lee, you're rhyming about a nightmare.
No. This is going to be a nightmare. Does that count?
Yes.
What's that word?
Rasputin.
Rasputin? What the fuck is
Get ready.
Rasputin? Oh. I don't know what that word is either.
Including?
I woke up
Hold on.
from...
Your beat's not started.
It's not started yet.
Ready. Give it time.
Is it started? I woke up from a dream which was including my tootin' and...
No. Leave! You just need to lay directly behind.
Crap.
One right after the other. Keep going.
I lost.
Keep going. It's about a nightmare.
It's about a nightmare, and I don't know what Rasputin means, but I like it because it's scary and dark in my dreams, and I don't know what I'm saying, but I'm trying to make the beat, and I don't know how to rap, and I don't have any cool
Crap. Here you go.
I don't know how to.
Start rapping using those words.
Look at the word.
Wait, what's she rapping about?
Oh, you're supposed to be rapping about... Sorry, I didn't give you a thing.
How about Star Wars?
Oh, yeah.
Rap about being cool.
Oh no, please, no. No, like pizza or something.
Okay, Rap About Pizza's in there. Rap About Pizza.
That was your words. I don't remember. I stuck with this too, kiddo.
I'm just gonna make something up.
Wicca.
Yeah. All right, make it up. You got
That's
this.
the whole idea. Make it up. About being cool. Or about pizza.
Okay. I don't like pizza, but I call it
You do it, Vaughn.
All right, Vaughn, save the day.
Save the day for Lil Vaughn.
Some people say they don't like pizza. I call them a liar. I go to my local C.R.E.A. and I see the guy making my pizza. He is somebody that I admire. I'm telling you, he makes these pies out of the sky, off the charts. I see how these pizzas be going, and I be shooting my way out of that. I don't know.
What did you think about that, Lil?
No, it's fine. I can't do it because I will be like, yeah, of course.
Those were the perfect noises for that.
Thanks for listening to the NSFWP podcast. You can find us on the internet at www.nsfwppodcast.com, where you'll find links to all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and our Board Game Geek Guild, as well as a link to our show on iTunes. If you're an iTunes user, please give us a subscribe, a like, and a review if you would. And come back next week for another great episode. Thanks.